Hey Few, so glad that you're joining us online. My name is Jason Harding, and I'm glad to be here with you. Are you seeming tired all the time? Like just tired. You wake up tired, you go to bed tired. Well, you're not alone. Everyone is feeling that way. And let me tell you, are you tired of this? Are you tired of hand sanitizer, like always using it? Let's see. You gotta use your hand sanitizer. Here you go. Ready, Andre? There we go. Wipe that in. What about this? Are you tired of the word social distancing? Like you feel like you have to carry a tape measure around and go 6 feet, 6 feet. What about this? Are you tired of your parents rationing the amount of toilet paper that you have to use? Like, here you go, Andre. I'm sorry I gave you so much. Can I help you out?
Yeah.
That's all you get right
Come
there.
on, man.
Okay, all right, fine. I'll give you some more. There we go. We've got tons of toilet paper, at least in this roll, but I don't have any more. But I believe God has something for us in this moment. No matter how much videos you have watched, like God's gonna speak to you. And so I want you to hear that. But right now I'm joined by my good Jamaican friend, Andre. And Andre, I have a question for you.
What's up, man?
Do you trust me?
Not after this.
Well,
sure, yes.
All right. Okay, we've been friends for a few years now.
Yep.
And I want you, in front of all the Fews,
Okay.
to blindfold yourself. Do you got one? Because I've actually forgotten to grab one. But you got a blindfold on you?
I have a handkerchief that I always carry with me.
Perfect.
So you're in luck.
We'll throw that around you, blindfold yourself.
Okay.
And as you do that, after you do that, I want you to do a trust fall. Like, do you trust me?
Oh, I don't know, man. You just threw hand sanitizer in my hand, and now you asked me to blindfold
Yeah.
myself, and
I give you toilet paper
all right,
though.
sure.
All right, blindfold
Sure.
yourself.
Okay.
Make
All right.
sure it's working well.
I can't see anything.
All right,
I
you're
can
good.
see black. That's all. Does that count?
All right. Now
Okay.
turn towards me. Turn towards me
I
first.
think you're
All
right
right,
here.
Can you see me?
I cannot.
All right, you sure?
I'm positive.
All right, good. Okay, now turn and face, your back towards me so you can
Okay.
actually do the trust fall.
Right
now,
here.
again, I'm gonna ask you, do you trust me?
Yes.
All right, wait, don't fall yet. I'm not ready. All right,
Fall now?
how about now? Do you trust me?
You sound far, but yeah, I trust you.
All right, on the count of 3,
Okay.
I want you to fall, and trust me, I will catch you. You ready?
Yes.
3,
Yeah.
2, 1. Wow. I actually was like 6 feet away, and I got distracted by something, and I actually didn't think I was gonna be able to come catch you.
Oh man.
That's just good for the heart, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, I'm so glad you're joining us. You're gonna have an incredible message in just a moment. But as Andre leaves to prepare for his message, I just want to pray for this moment for you. Let's pray. God, I'm so thankful that even though we may be in our home, we may be on the computer, God, you can still speak through your word. And I pray that each and every Few student that's listening to you right now, God, that you have something for them. That in this moment of loneliness that they may feel or whatever they're feeling, God, speak to them and know that you are with them. And that they have small group leaders, pastors, they have a church that is right there with them. And in everything that you do, Jesus, just thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yo, 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 yippee, yay. It's your boy, Dre. And I'm so glad to be back with you guys this week. So today, we're going to switch things up a bit. We're going to do a standalone message and talk about honor and respect, both when it comes to ourselves and others. And we're jumping into a series that we called Trending, where we talk about some topics that are trending in the world of middle schoolers. Sometimes those trending topics are funny, like TikTok or memes. And other times, those trending topics are pretty serious. See, sometimes there are things that have the potential to impact our lives in very, very big ways. But let's be honest, talking about those more serious trending topics can be a little bit uncomfortable. However, we want you to know that here at Fuse, we can talk about anything. You can talk about anything. And this is a safe place to ask questions or have conversations about difficult or confusing things. And though we can't meet face to face to have these conversations, know that your pastors and small group leaders, they're only a text away. And we really believe that you're mature enough to have these kinds of conversations with us. With that said, let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about something that's really, really important, and that is consent. Maybe you've heard the word consent before, like when you have your parents sign a consent form for you to go on a field trip, or to participate in some other activity, or to watch a certain movie at school. That's consent. Or maybe you've heard the word used in more serious ways, like in stories you've read online or on the news, or maybe you've never heard someone use this word. It's really not one that comes up in a lot of our conversations. So what exactly does it mean? Well, consent simply means to give your permission for something to happen or to agree to something or allow something to take place. For example, when you let your little brother borrow your sweater, you're given your consent for him to wear it. Or when you let someone play on your brand new gaming system, you're giving them permission to use it, consent to use it. When someone asks you to take your picture, you agree. You're giving them consent to snap that photo. Now, typically, we don't use the word consent to talk about things like borrowing clothes or sharing your stuff or taking pictures. When the word consent is used in most conversations, it's usually about what someone does or does not want in regards to things like relationship or dating or physical touch. See, whether you realize it or not, consent is actually a really, really big deal. And that makes understanding why it matters so important. It has the potential to change both the way we treat others and the way we let others treat us. It is huge. So here's the tension. Consent is all about permission. It's about having the right to say yes or no to someone else. It's about your ability to express what's okay with you and what isn't. But as middle schoolers, you might feel like this is something that just doesn't apply to you quite yet. Why? Because the adults in your life typically have most of the control. Here's what I mean. Your parents control what you eat, what time you wake up, when you have to be home from your friend's house, or if you have a social media account, or who you get to invite to spend the night. Your teachers control where you sit in class, what homework you have to do, and when you get to eat your lunch. Your coach controls what spot you get on the team, or when you have to play, or how much you have to practice. Even right now, I have control over how long you have to sit here and listen to me. When you look at it in these ways, it's easy to see why you might think, this isn't something that really applies to you right now. After all, the adults in your life, in your world, have most of the control. And because of that, they're usually the one giving consent. Sure, that might be true for the big, obvious parts of your life. But as a middle schooler, the adults in your life, they have a lot to say in terms of what you say yes or no to. But believe me when I say that right here, right now, as a middle schooler, you have more options to give your consent than you may realize. In fact, when it comes to saying yes or no to someone, you have more control than you think. You see, you're actually faced with opportunities to give your consent every single day, especially when it comes to something like relationships, dating, and physical touch. I mean, think about it. When someone wants to hold your hand, or give you a hug, or put their arm around you, you get to decide whether or not you're going to say yes or no. When someone asks for a picture of you, you get to decide if you're going to send it. When someone wants to kiss you or dance with you, you get to give permission or not. When someone wants to go on a date with you or sit by you on the bus or maybe be your boyfriend or girlfriend, you get to give permission or consent. You see what I mean? In a lot of ways, you as a middle schooler are exercising your consent every single day. And because of that, you have a responsibility to use it wisely. You have a responsibility to not only give consent to others, but to also respect the consent others might be giving you. You see, consent is really about the way we treat each other. And sometimes this is a tricky thing to navigate in our relationships. Maybe that's because when it comes to relationships, you're thinking more about what you want than what's best for the other person. Sure, the other person doesn't seem comfortable with you asking for those pictures, or sitting so close to them on the bus, or asking them out repeatedly. But well, you really want to. And besides, they didn't necessarily tell you not to. They might not be comfortable with it, but they didn't outright tell you to stop. Or maybe instead of thinking about what's right or best for the other person, you're just thinking about what you can get away with. A quick touch in the hallway, a joke, dropping a comment in their DMs. Those things aren't enough to really get you in trouble or called out for treating the person in a wrong way. But now there might be a whole nother side of consent that's even complicated because you've been on the other end of it. Maybe you've been asked to do things you didn't feel or like or you felt comfortable doing. It could have been someone asking you to cheat on a test, or a friend convincing you to lie to a parent, or even something like moving faster in a relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend faster than you wanted to at the time. You didn't want to do it, and you certainly weren't comfortable with it, but you felt pressured by the other person to give in and take that step. Maybe in those moments, you didn't know what to do. You didn't know how to express how it made you feel, or that you didn't want to do it. Maybe you wanted to say no, but you didn't know how to say it. Maybe you even felt like you couldn't say it. What would the fallout be if you did? Would that hurt their feelings? Could you lose that relationship? Would they even understand? I mean, everybody else is going around doing that same thing, including the teenagers you see on TV. So maybe, even if you're uncomfortable with it, this is just something you're supposed to do. Now, for some of you, this conversation is even harder to have. Maybe you've spoken up and said what you did or did not want, but the other person didn't listen. Maybe you didn't give your consent, your permission for them to talk to you, touch you, or treat you a certain way, but they did it anyway. That's not okay. And you know just how terrible it feels to be treated this way because, unfortunately, you've experienced it. No matter where you sit with all this, here's what I need you to know. We can all expect more than this from each other. And we can all extend more to other people. We can have more control over our consent, and we can also have a responsibility to respect others, whether they give it to us or not. And I think giving consent and respecting others starts with honor. Honor is just another way to say we treat each other and ourselves with respect. Let me show you what I mean. Check out this video.
Get in the car, I'll drive. We got no place to be on time, so let's just enjoy the ride. We can go wherever the road decides, or we can head for the shore, or someplace we've never been before. Just climb in and close the door. We got nothing to answer for, 'cause you belong with me. You belong with me. And I belong with you. I belong with you. With you. I belong with you.
watched is a recap of a special needs prom our church hosted where we treated people like prince and princesses for an entire night. And I love being a part of that event because it is the epitome of showing honor. And while it may not look the same as it does for the royalty in that video, we can still expect honor from others, and we can still choose to treat others with honor. What's cool is that even though this is a trending topic right now, it was also something that men and women wrestled with thousands of years ago. And how do I know this? Because it's in the Bible. There's a letter in New Testament, which is the second half of the Bible, written way after Jesus lived on earth, and it's called Romans. And that letter is written by a guy named Paul. Now, Paul was a leader in the early Christian church, and because of that, he had a ton of influence in the lives of people who believed in Jesus back then. Because Paul spent a lot of time traveling to share and spread the message of Jesus, he would write letters to other believers in cities and churches. Why? Because he wanted to use his influence to encourage them, to support them, and share wisdom on how they could live their lives, their best lives, lives that would honor God. Today, we're going to look at one of those things Paul said in his letter to the church in Rome. Here's what it says. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. So, Paul said that one way we can show others that we love them, that we can care about them, is by honoring them. What does that actually look like? Well, remember that honor is another way to say respect. So when we honor someone, it means we treat them with respect. We show them respect with words, actions, thoughts, behaviors. You can honor your teacher by not talking while she talks in class. You can honor that new kid at school by deciding not to tease them in the lunchroom with everybody else. You can honor your parents by not yelling at them. And when it comes to specific things like dating and relationships or physical touch, you can honor others by respecting their consent. When someone tells you no, you stop right then and there. You don't pressure until they say yes. You don't try to convince them to do something they don't feel comfortable with. When someone doesn't want to go out with you, you respect that and you stop asking. When someone doesn't want to see those pictures, you don't send them. When someone doesn't want you to touch them, you don't keep trying. You take honoring and respecting their wishes seriously. And that's just the beginning of honor. Because while consent is a big deal in relationships and an important piece of what it means to honor someone else, it's not the only thing we should do. Honoring someone also means going above and beyond consent. It means not putting that person or ourselves in a position they don't want to be in. It means choosing what's best for them, even when it's the opposite of what you want in the moment. Because as Paul said, we have to be devoted to treating each other in this way. In other words, it's more than just a one-time thing. When you're devoted or dedicated to something, you're loyal to it. You stick with it. You keep doing it over and over and over again. When you're devoted to someone that you like, you're a fan or a band or your team or a YouTuber, whatever, you're committed to being their fan for the long haul. That's devotion. And when you're devoted to treating someone else with things like love and respect and honor, that means you're committed to treating them this way all the time. Look back at what Paul said. We're not just called to honor each other. We're supposed to honor one another above yourselves. So even though you might want something from that person, you honor their consent above all else. Even though you might be okay with a certain behavior, if the other person isn't okay with it, you respect their wishes. And here's what's cool. We all deserve honor. Just as much as we should extend honor to others, we should expect to be treated with that same honor. Why? Because every single one of us is created in the image of God. That and that alone means all of us deserve to be honored. See, honor isn't just about the higher standard you should extend. It's the higher standard that you should also expect. It's the standard you ask for. When someone doesn't honor you or gets angry that you were asked to be honored, that's a sign that you need to take a step back from that relationship or that person. They don't want what's best for you. Now, I know this is tough for some of you to hear. I mean, some of you probably have asked to be treated with respect and honor in the past. And maybe you've expressed your consent or your wishes to be treated differently, and it wasn't respected. It wasn't honored. And now you're dealing with feelings of guilt, shame, anger, or even embarrassment. I want to say that I'm really sorry that that happened to you. You feel wrong about it, not because of anything you did, but because that was done to you. And that is wrong. What happened to you is not your fault. It wasn't the way you were meant to be treated. And it's not what you deserve. You still deserve to be honored. You still can be honored. And you can honor yourself by talking about it today with someone you trust. Let them honor you by helping you through it. I know this conversation is hard. I know it's tricky and it may be even awkward to talk about. But I also know that it's important, because if we can grasp this, if we can start making honor our goal, then the way we treat other people will change. The way we let other people treat us will change. And because of that, our relationships will change for the better. So remember, honor others and expect to be honored by others. So how do we do this? Well, I think we need to begin here. Number one, show honor to others. Make honor your goal. Make honor the way you approach other people. Live and treat them with respect. Make that the filter for how you interact with everyone else. You could also respect the no. So much of consent is about listening to the other person, so pay attention to their words, their actions, and even their body language. Listen to and respect what they're saying in terms of consent. Understand that no means no. When someone else tells you no, there isn't a question after that. You stop and respect it right then and there. Number two, expect to be honored. Decide how you want to be treated. Decide how you want to be treated and honored before you're even in a situation to be treated that way. You see, you can set the standard for yourself before you're in a situation that pushes your limits. That will help you determine how you expect to be honored. The second thing you can do is practice your no. Sometimes saying no is awkward, hard, or even embarrassing, especially if you really like the person or you want them to like you. So practice your no now. Start saying no to small things so that you'll be able to say no to bigger things in bigger situations. If you don't want to say that part, just say no. If you don't want to be a part of that relationship, say no. If you don't want to go to that party, say no. If you don't want to spend that night at your friend's house, say no. Simply practicing no, you'll be confident enough when you're faced with bigger issues in the future. Lastly, speak up with confidence. You're allowed to use your voice to express what's okay and what's not okay with you. So if you want someone to stop, you can say that. If you want to say no to something, you can say that. Even if it's yes in the past and you weren't sure how the other person might feel, even if you want to change your answer and you're scared, whatever the case might be, you can be confident and know what's best for you. And finally, if you do all that and someone still doesn't respect your no, don't be ashamed to share that with a trusted adult. You can honor yourself by telling someone who can help you. So, as we go out today, I want you to remember this. Honor others and expect to be honored by others. Those two seemingly small things have the potential to make big changes for our lives and relationships. And as we transition back to Jason, ask yourself this question: what's one way I can honor others?
What's one way you can honor others? So often we can get caught up with what we want that we forget to love the ones around us. It turns into being selfish. When we start to making it all about ourselves, we lose the sight of loving others in our lives, which can throw our world into chaos. It makes us angry. If you find yourself in that position and things seem to be getting hard, remember what Jesus did for us. Jesus didn't want to die on the cross, but he did it to honor his Father. Jesus chose to follow what he was called to do, and through that choice, he saved us from our sins. He saved you. He set us free because of his love for us. He loves you more than you know. So when you feel like you've chosen to love yourself over others, or you're choosing to honor yourself over others, think about the choice Jesus made to put your salvation above his suffering. Right now, we're going to move into a worship. And whether you are in your room, on your tablet, or in the living room on the TV, or sitting at the computer desk, I want you to really worship with us right now. Listen to the words that are being sung. Follow us and give it all to God.
The weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. When the darkness falls, it won't prevail. 'Cause the God I serve knows only how to triumph. My God will never fail. No, my God will never fail. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Oh. There's power in the mighty name of Jesus. Every war he wages, he will win. I'm not backing down from any giant, 'cause I know how this story ends. Yes, I know how this story ends. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Oh. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Come on, sing it out. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory, yeah. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs
glad you joined us for Fuse Online this week. Right at the beginning of this pandemic, when we all started staying home and life changed, someone told me when this is all over and we go back to normal, hanging out with friends, going to school, traveling, what will you have to show for this time during this pandemic? Will you remember this pandemic by something God has done in you, done in your family's life? When this is all over, will you be able to say you loved your family the best? Hang in there and don't be afraid to reach out to your small group leader, because we want to be here for you, and we will see you all next week.